looks like we may have a pretty good idea of when Caitlin Clark is next going to play basketball, and it's not during the WNBA season. At least that's not the next thing that she's got her eye on. It's not Unrivaled, and it's not Athletes Unlimited, but it is sooner than the WNBA season.
Caitlin Clark has just delivered one of the most unexpected bombshells in women's basketball, and no one saw this coming. The generational rookie superstar is flat out refusing to return to basketball in the way everyone assumed she would. No Unrivaled League. No Athletes Unlimited. No overseas contracts promising life-changing money. She's turning everything down, and the basketball world is spiraling because of it. But here's where things take a crazy turn. While other players are chasing off-season paydays, Clark is operating on a completely different level. She's not at home relaxing, binge-watching shows, or taking time off. Not even close. Behind the scenes, she's executing a calculated plan that could reshape the entire sport. The speculation exploded when Clark's name didn't appear on a single off-season roster. Fans refreshed social media nonstop, waiting for news. Where would Caitlin play? Which league offered her the biggest contract? The silence was overwhelming, and panic started to spread. To make things even stranger, the Indiana Fever refused to give clear answers. Every press conference sounded overly cautious and vague. Day-to-day evaluations, preventative protocols, load management strategies. It felt less like basketball updates and more like legal briefings. Meanwhile, her peers were cashing in overseas. Some players secured six-figure deals for just a few months of play. The money was right there, and Clark walked away without hesitation. That kind of decision requires either extreme confidence or a massive miscalculation. And if there's one thing Caitlin Clark isn't, it's careless. Here's the twist no one anticipated. Clark isn't avoiding basketball because she's injured, scared, or burned out. She's stepping away because she's preparing something much bigger, something that could make every off-season paycheck look insignificant.
She didn't look like her usual self. Though her counting stats, 16.5 points, 5 rebounds, 8.8 assists, were still impressive. She shot 36.7% from the field, including 27.9% from three-point range, and had 3 games without a three, something that previously hadn't happened since her sophomore season at Iowa. Quote, "I would never speak for Caitlin, but it's frustrating as an athlete to go through injury when you're not able to do what you love to do." White said, "Certainly having setbacks, then working your way back, then having another setback, all of that is frustrating." While it's frustrating, it's important that we get her back to 100% and she's comfortable, she's confident, that she's healthy, and that she can move forward in a way that continues to build on her career and her franchise.
The basketball community has treated Clark's silence like a retirement announcement. Talk shows are questioning her toughness. Critics are claiming she peaked after one season. The hot takes are flying faster than her logo, threes, ever did. But there's another side to this story. While the noise keeps growing, Clark has been quietly building behind closed doors.
And Unrivaled this offseason and has also passed on Athletes Unlimited. Okay, so she is not playing in that league. That's confirmation. Another domestic off-season league, nor will she be going overseas, even though offers would surely be lucrative.
She's not flooding social media with workout clips or responding to criticism online. She's staying silent, focused, and disciplined, which is exactly how you move when something major is in motion. The reality is, Caitlin Clark's decision to skip off-season leagues isn't a step back. It's a strategic flex. She's betting on herself in a way that could either redefine player power or spark controversy across the league. And based on her history, the smart bet is that she knows precisely what she's doing.
Instead, she said during her exit interview, her main focus during the winter is, quote, "really just getting my body healthy." Caitlin Clark does want to suit up for Team USA in the spring, however. Though the Americans have already qualified for the 2026 FIBA Women's World Cup, they will still participate in a qualifying tournament in San Juan, Puerto Rico from March 11.
Let's rewind for a second and really break down this injury situation because none of it adds up. Caitlin Clark was reportedly dealing with a groin strain and a high ankle sprain back in July. That was 4 months ago. 4 full months. NFL players recover from torn ligaments faster than that. Yet somehow, Clark's ankle was treated like it was wrapped in glass and bubble wrap. During that stretch, the Indiana Fever became one of the most secretive organizations in professional sports. Every update sounded like classified information. Minor tightness, precautionary measures, day-to-day evaluations. They used more medical buzzwords than a hospital TV series, and none of it explained why their franchise star was sidelined for nearly half a year. Behind closed doors, something didn't sit right. Either the Fever's medical staff completely mismanaged the situation, or they were covering up something far bigger than a routine ankle issue. Because let's be honest, a groin strain that lingers for 4 months stops being a strain and starts becoming a mystery, wrapped in medical tape and buried under corporate language. Clark went from recording triple-doubles early in the season to struggling to string together 5 straight games. The same player who confidently pulled up from the logo and challenged defenders twice her size suddenly looked hesitant to make sharp cuts on the floor.
For the team, those games will be the first time she sees real action since July 15th. In order to make sure she's ready by then, the Fever will not skip any steps over the next few weeks and months.
Something clearly happened, and the Fever weren't telling the public what it really was. But here's the part that made fans suspicious. While Clark was reportedly too injured to play basketball, she was somehow healthy enough to sit for long interviews and public appearances. She could talk at a desk for an hour, but couldn't run the court for 20 minutes. The logic didn't add up, and fans began connecting the dots. Conspiracy theories took over. Some believed it was about locker room chemistry issues with Kelsey Mitchell. Others thought the Fever were quietly tanking for draft position. The wildest theory claimed Clark was negotiating behind the scenes with other teams and using the injury as cover. To make matters worse, the Fever's communication strategy completely collapsed. Every press conference only fueled the confusion. Head coach Stephanie White would label Clark as day-to-day, then she'd miss 3 more weeks. They'd announce she was ramping up activity, only for her to disappear again. It felt like a poorly written drama with no continuity. Fans weren't buying it. Social media erupted with accusations of secrecy and mismanagement. Hashtags began trending, demanding transparency. People wanted answers, proof, and clarity. The organization's credibility, with its own fan base, took a major hit. Things got even stranger when reports surfaced about Clark's exit interview. She allegedly told management her priority was getting her body healthy. But healthy from what, exactly? No one could explain it. At this point, Clark's injury saga was either one of the worst medical mishandlings in sports or one of the most carefully constructed cover-ups in modern basketball. Either way, the Fever handled it so poorly that they damaged their own reputation. And suddenly, Clark's silence started to make sense. Now here's where the story flips completely. While everyone has been panicking about Clark skipping off-season leagues, she's been quietly planning one of the smartest comeback strategies in sports. March 11th through 17th, Team USA, Puerto Rico World Cup qualifying tournament. This isn't just a return to basketball. This is a textbook example of how to take control of your own narrative. Multiple sources close to Team USA are now confirming that Caitlin Clark is expected to be fully cleared by late February. Not day-to-day, not precautionary. Fully cleared and ready to compete on the international stage. The same ankle that supposedly couldn't survive WNBA minutes is suddenly strong enough for Team USA competition. Either modern medicine pulled off a miracle, or someone's been playing chess while everyone else was stuck playing checkers. And somehow it gets even smarter. Clark choosing Team USA over off-season leagues isn't just about the money she's walking away from. It's about the stage she's stepping onto instead. Unrivaled might offer solid paychecks, but Unrivaled doesn't move the needle nationally. Athletes Unlimited might write decent contracts, but it doesn't get primetime ESPN treatment. Team USA versus Puerto Rico. That's appointment television. That's major networks battling for broadcast rights. That's millions of casual fans tuning in, many of whom haven't watched women's basketball since the Olympics, just to see if America's golden girl still has it. Clark didn't just choose a team. She chose the biggest spotlight possible. Here's the part no one is talking about. Her first meaningful basketball in 7 months will be on the international stage, wearing a Team USA jersey and representing her country. You couldn't script a better comeback if you tried. It's patriotic. It's inspiring. And it's perfectly timed to generate maximum hype right before the WNBA season begins. The timing is flawless. March gives her nearly 7 full weeks to knock off rust before May tips off. If she struggles in Puerto Rico, she has time to adjust. If she dominates, she carries that momentum straight into what could be the most anticipated WNBA season ever. And let's not forget, Team USA has already qualified for the World Cup. These games function like high-profile exhibitions focused on chemistry and rhythm. There's almost no pressure, massive exposure, and endless opportunities to remind the world why she's the biggest name in women's basketball. It's essentially a global tune-up with the entire world watching. Even head coach Stephanie White has shifted her language, moving away from medical terms and back to basketball talk. 3-on-3.
2-on-2.
Progressing to 5-on-5. Clark is training at 90 to 100% intensity. That's not rehab terminology. That's comeback preparation. They're no longer testing her ankle. They're sharpening her timing and decision-making. And here's what makes this move truly elite. While every other star is grinding through off-season leagues chasing money Clark doesn't even need, she's positioning herself for something far bigger. Meanwhile, she's positioning herself as the face of American basketball while getting paid by USA Basketball to do it. She has access to elite training, top-tier medical staff, and the most powerful platform possible for her return. The basketball world is about to be reminded why Caitlin Clark breaks the internet every single time she touches a ball. March can't arrive fast enough. Now, let's talk about what really happened when Caitlin Clark went down, because the WNBA is in full panic mode while desperately trying to act like everything is under control. The league spent decades begging for mainstream attention, and when Clark finally delivered it on a silver platter, they watched it vanish faster than a Shaq free throw. Those record-breaking TV ratings from Clark's first games disappeared. The social media engagement that suddenly had basketball Twitter caring about the WNBA evaporated. Jersey sales that had executives celebrating in their offices cooled off like leftover pizza. The league went from feeling like the hottest thing in sports to once again fighting for scraps on ESPN highlight reels. But here's the brutal reality. The WNBA had finally experienced what true mainstream success felt like, and losing it hurt far worse than never having it at all. Post-game press conferences shifted from packed rooms filled with national media to half-empty spaces, with the same 3 beat writers asking recycled questions. The energy completely died. Television networks that had been throwing money at WNBA broadcasts suddenly remembered they had other programming priorities. Those once promised primetime slots quietly disappeared, replaced by baseball reruns and late-night poker tournaments. The league's golden ticket got injured, and suddenly everyone started eyeing the exits. Other players felt the impact immediately. Their games stopped receiving the same coverage. Their highlights stopped trending online. The casual fans who showed up exclusively for Clark weren't sticking around to watch anyone else. It was like watching a party clear out the moment the main attraction left the room. The WNBA's marketing department likely lost sleep for months. Their entire 2024 strategy had been built around Caitlin Clark's star power, and when she went down, there was no backup plan. You can't simply replace a player who single-handedly brought millions of new eyes to the sport. There is no plan B for that level of cultural impact. That's when desperation set in. League offices started forcing new storylines harder than a used car salesman. They pushed Aya Wilson as the face of the league. They hyped rookie rivalries. They promoted playoff matchups relentlessly. None of it stuck. The casual fans were gone, and they weren't coming back without their favorite player. Even longtime WNBA fans could feel the shift. Games that once generated real online buzz were suddenly being ignored. Highlight plays that should have been instant viral moments barely received any retweets. The league had become addicted to Caitlin Clark's ability to make everything feel meaningful, and the withdrawal was brutal. But it didn't stop there. The financial fallout hit every layer of the organization. Merchandise sales declined. Ticket sales slowed. Sponsorship deals that once felt guaranteed suddenly became uncertain. Corporate partners who were ready to write major checks started asking uncomfortable questions about long-term viewership projections. The WNBA spent 25 years building a loyal but limited fan base. Clark delivered mainstream relevance in just 25 games. Losing that momentum felt like watching decades of work vanish overnight. The league went from feeling unstoppable to feeling invisible all over again. Here's the truth nobody wants to say out loud. The WNBA needs Caitlin Clark far more than Caitlin Clark needs the WNBA. She proved that a single player really can change everything. And her absence proved just as clearly that losing one player can collapse everything just as fast. March isn't just about her return. It's about the league's survival. Now comes the bombshell that's about to change everything. Caitlin Clark's March return isn't just a comeback story. It's on track to become the most-watched women's basketball event in history. When she steps onto the court in Puerto Rico wearing a Team USA jersey, every record the WNBA once celebrated is going to look like child's play. NBC, ESPN, and Fox Sports are almost certainly already circling those broadcast rights. This isn't just appointment television. This is drop everything and watch television. The same player who brought millions of casual fans to women's basketball is returning on the biggest possible stage, and the entire sports world is about to lose its collective mind. Here's what makes this even crazier. Clark's first game back will likely generate more buzz than the WNBA Finals. That's not exaggeration. That's math. Her Iowa games routinely outdrew NBA playoff matchups. Her WNBA debut shattered viewership records that had stood for decades. Now, imagine that level of attention focused on a single international tournament. The social media explosion will be unlike anything we've seen. Every no-look pass will break Twitter. Every deep three-pointer will flood Instagram. Every highlight will go viral faster than trending dance clips. Clark's return will dominate sports coverage for weeks. And the WNBA will ride that momentum straight into what could become its most successful season ever. Not only that, but this comeback narrative practically writes itself. America's basketball princess is returning from injury to lead Team USA. The player who went down while carrying a struggling franchise is coming back healthy, confident, and ready to dominate on the international stage. Hollywood couldn't write a better redemption story if it tried. Every major sports network is preparing to treat Caitlin Clark's first Team USA appearance like the second coming of basketball. Pre-game shows will stretch for hours. Post-game breakdowns will analyze every single possession. The coverage will be so overwhelming that other sports will be pushed completely into the background. This isn't just appointment viewing. It transcends basketball entirely. Here's the part that's going to shock everyone. If Clark dominates in Puerto Rico, she doesn't just secure an Olympic roster spot. She instantly becomes the face of American basketball heading into Paris. The Olympics with Caitlin Clark as the centerpiece creates a global audience that makes even the WNBA's most ambitious projections look conservative. The ripple effects have already begun. Ticket prices for Indiana Fever games next season are set to skyrocket. Jersey pre-orders are going to crash websites. Corporate sponsors who thought they missed their opportunity will rush back, throwing money at anything connected to Clark. Her return won't just help the league. It will create a financial wave that lifts everyone around her. And there's still more. Clark's decision to skip off-season leagues now looks like elite-level brand management. While other players were grinding for checks that barely moved the needle, she was building anticipation for a comeback that will generate more attention than all those leagues combined. She transformed absence into anticipation, and anticipation into pure marketing gold. The pressure will be immense, but pressure has never scared Clark. She's proven time and again that the bigger the stage, the better she performs. Puerto Rico isn't just about getting back into basketball shape. It's about reminding the world why she's the most electrifying player in women's basketball. Here's the bottom line. March 11th through 17th will permanently reshape women's basketball. Caitlin Clark's return will once again prove that one player really can change an entire sport. The WNBA is about to get its golden goose back, and this time they'd better protect her. If you're enjoying this breakdown and want more deep dives into the biggest stories in women's basketball, hit subscribe and join the conversation.